Yeah, welcome here to our online event. It's more of a presentation. My name is Johan Grönig, or GK, for international pronouncing. It's a bit easier. Yes, welcome here in this course. This is a quite your basic information, technically what we are going through here. But I have seen, and now with many people, they don't actually know about this topic at all, or they don't see the connections and what means energy, what is a high energy, what is a low energy. We will briefly go through this. And first of all, I'm sharing my screen. I hope this works. On it. Then we jump to this presentation. And please, for questions and comments, we will discuss this later, except if there's something really urgent. Oh, now I jumped too fast. So we hear this. It starts with how to create and maintain high energy. This is the topic. Of course, in the picture, you can see we have here a person who is eating, and that's food is, of course, one big topic about energy. And first of all, I have some questions. How to start, create high energy. And now where we start from and why you are here, well, this is a questions, of course, you can ask yourself. Probably you're interested, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And we start, of course, from the thing, energy, and everything is, of course, energy in different levels and different frequencies, but we come to this later. And everybody knows sometimes we're in a good mood, sometimes we're in a bad mood, sometimes we have light thoughts, sometimes we have heavy thoughts. But this is technically all energy. Food is, of course, energy, and we get our basic needs from. So what means the word energy in this presentation? What I already mentioned before, energy is technically everything in this presentation. It's food, thought, feelings, and of course actions. And I think that's mostly it. Technically, what I said, everything is energy. And why I'm asking these questions during this free event, because, like I said, many people don't have this basic understanding, or they don't understand the dots, and they don't know why they have negative thoughts, or why they have habits which are creating a lower energy. And what is the difference between low energy? We will soon come to this point. And what has this information to do with your life? Probably you are now experiencing some changes in your external world, maybe also in your inside. So you can, of course, use this content from this course to ask if you are altogether, in summary, in a high or low energy. And also you can, of course, use this information to create and maintain a constant higher energy where you feel better. You get better informations, you're more creative, and a better mood. Yeah, how you can use this information for your life circumstances. This is, of course, there are some general recommendations where we soon go into, but of course, I very strongly recommend always to consultate a coach. So you're not alone. It's better than somebody who has already experienced in this. So you can ask this, you can ask me, or later other people which are mentioned in the end. And depending on your circumstances, I believe everything can be improved. Everything can be improved. For example, health can be improved. The diet can be improved. thing can be improved, the action can be improved. Now I jumped backwards, sorry. And do you feel related to this topic, or do you have friends and relatives who would know about that as well? And you can, of course, think in silence, and we will do this kind of workshop or presentations in the future more often. So let's start with the main part. Now, for example, how food is affecting emotionally energy. We're starting with the emotion, with the food. Because food, everybody can relate to food, everybody needs this every day. So this is a general aspect, might be also be different in some individual cases, but often when we have cravings, so that's what often is behind, not always, but let's say, so in general. So if you have a craving for chocolate, I have this very often, so I have a hungry for love, so technically overcoming maybe some kind of emotional things. Dairy products have antidepressant food, not as well. Candy, they can ask yourself now if you eat a lot of sweet stuffs. I do sometimes. I love actually here the cake and pie, so I love actually the pleasure in the restaurants. And also thought interesting when I found this one, fatty foods. I have what fatty foods, feeling of emptiness. That's very interesting. Yes, you can. What I said doesn't have to mean that you are now this kind of person, but it's just interesting list. On the other side, I swapped this a little bit on the side, or maybe here. The power. This is of course emotional sighting. Emotion eating cycle is an energetic cycle. So we have then often then when we eat something, then we feel an overwhelmed by. I had this for a couple of days. I had a really bad day, and I then ate a lot of food, not so much sweets, but technically food in general too much, more than I did need, and of course then we have this a little kind of viscous circle, and we feel a little bit guilty. Well, I didn't actually feel that, but everybody has a different one. That I had the food, but it had definitely the emotionally experiences had definitely an impact of my eating behavior. And then you can of course ask yourself, okay, do I have this also often or sometimes? Not judging, but just from an objective point of view, you can look at yourself if you want maybe to improve that. This is a this course is just here a little bit to share information. We are not I'm not saying what you have to do or what is good for you. This is you have to decide. It's just information, like not buffet, you can say. And this also, of course, doesn't represent any kind of medical suggestions or recommendations. I wanted to say this in the beginning, but I forgot. So then we jump further. This is a very interesting, I hope you can read this all, it's a bit small. We jump a little bit to the chakra sector because it's a holistic, we are working holistically. And for example, fasting is here expanding or developing your connecting to divine wisdom. In other words, if you are overeat too much, and this has happened to me often, then I don't feel really connected to the higher because we are here too full, and so the energy cannot really rise. Sorry, I jumped too far. No, so we don't go through everything through, but you can see that food colors in generally is also related to the chakra system, also to mood, and also to different kind of thoughts and energy. Everything is energy. Colors. We go later to the color therapy, and this the red one is they're not all one-to-one perfectly. For example, potatoes are not basically red, but red represents the red-brown, the earth where they are growing into. So they're all normally food which is either growing in the earth or very close on top, except now it says apples, okay. Now, yeah, well, but everything, of course, grows, let's say, from this front of the earth. This is a vegetarian recommendation. No. For example, the honey is here recommended for embracing life with passion. If you want to increase this one, the honey comes from the bee, so this doesn't grow. No, technically it grows also in the tree, but indirect. So we don't go through everything, but you can also make a screenshot or can ask later. I can send you this also per email. So very interesting. And this is more or less the same. It's hopefully you can read it. I couldn't make it bigger. This is more or less the same what we did here a little bit before. This shows also the colors a little bit, but the color, it's more when you feel, or if you feel anxious and you want to feel calm. So then there's actually food recommendation where you should have more food of millet or sweet rice, or here it's difficult to read the sad. You want to relieve, so you need quinoa or a fish. But I said this is a general recommendation. Might be also has differences in effect with individuals. So, but the press is very interesting. You want to be centered. No, so you have lentils, and tempeh. I sometimes feel often more, well, I can say impatient. So actually, I should have more here, according to this list. Quinoa, restless, not often white beans. Yeah, but I have to say, in my diet, many things dropped out. 2 10s, it's now with playful corn or polenta. No, well, you can see if you feel somehow related to this, and you can maybe also try it out. No lack of confidence, a lot of greens, now root vegetables. Now is here again the grounding, the security. So, are there any questions? How I can see this here in the chat? Not yet. Okay, that's fine. No, I said that in the end, but when there's some urgent, we can also do this. So you can keep this in mind. No, we're going to know everything through, but it's very interesting. And then we swap, we jump forward. This is, I also copied this, that's very interesting. It's quite similar what we already discussed. Again, we have the chakra, we have the color again, and we have now, in addition, also stones, gemstones, which also have the capacity to change your energy. But the basis is, of course, if we combine food, they can use gemstones, and later also we come to music and to frequencies to balance how to balance out what is an imbalance. But first of all, many people are actually not in balance, or they are in balance, but they don't have the consciousness to actually realize this. But we come to this later. That many people always feel so frustrated or angry, and they're actually not really aware that this comes from them. So, and you can also see now here again, the amethyst. I got a lot of recommendation that I should have this one. And that's actually true, because I'm often undisciplined, afraid of success. Interesting. No, I haven't read actually everything through. I don't, but no, that's very interesting. So amethyst, maybe I should also add to my thing. And third eye, yeah, not very interesting. If it's too excessive, it's egoistical, arrogant. So everything has a strong and, of course, a weak or deficient deficient or excessive state. And balance would be non-material, no fear, charismatic, total vision, master of oneself, telepathy. So that's very interesting. And I do believe that we all have these assets, these senses, high developed senses, but probably not trained, maybe not even in a lifetime, or hardly maybe have experienced something of this, but not we have really trained this telepathic or other things, clairvoyance. People can look in the future, but we don't go to this today, but certainly that this is here also mentioned. So then we come from the, as I said before, I did mention, we come to the, as music and sounds can help you to stay in high energy. As we had now the food, we had the stones, and what about music? Let's stop this bit here. So energy, music is also, and as I said in the beginning, everything is energy. And this is a very nice copy here, picture. It says actually also the chakra, and as lower, of course, the vibration or the music is in a special kind of frequency, then this is activating, for example, here the root chakra, which is connected also if it's unbalanced and in disbalance, guilt and fear, when the security is gone. So this shows him more the, yes. So now Tuesday, so there we have here the days. Now I'm, for example, I'm born on Tuesday, so I'm definitely have, for me, grounding is very important, centering and grounding. And also it smell, also it says a lot of the things which are related. You can also actually here see the archangels, which are working in the different kind of frequencies. I often, that's very funny. I got this for, well, I'm again too fast. Many years I got a suggestion to work more my throat chakra for healing. And now actually I see the Raphael is also in the throat chakra, Vishuddha. And it's funny, Aries. No, see, we always make self-discovery also during process. Yes, also if you can feel somehow related to this, you can say, okay, when you're born, and if there's some similarities, or if you can relate to this. If not, that's fine. But I said it's not a golden rule here, but it's more or less basic information. So then this is a little bit, maybe more or less the same, a little bit more with colors. This shows technically now the like for color therapy, also for music. So you can see this is a bit more specific. We say also the note A, or B, or B. So in which kind of frequency it works, in which kind of approximate color. It's not always. No? So how you can actually activate this chakra to change the energy, or balance out the energy in your system. So we jump a bit further. It doesn't take too long. I check my time, 22. Okay. How your thoughts are affecting energy. Now we're jumping from the emotion and the food and the music to the thoughts. So I have to say, of course, advanced, this is not a medical class, but we have a little bit, I put this best, we have a little bit, of course, because this is a very common thing in Northern Hemisphere, Northern Europe, not the depression. And we briefly go through. There are now 5 sort of warning signs for depression, and you can, if you really want, read for this, because we are not going so particularly, but just to mention that this is very important. If you feel that way, or if you have this often, that there is also a chance to have an impact. But as mentioned before, of course, in the medical advice, medical care, then you always have to go with this recommendation first. But maybe you find something that you can use in addition. No. We all maybe have experienced some kind of depression or some kind of cold depression. I had this actually a lot in my life, difficulty concentrating and a loss of energy. There's a nervousness, physical signs of nervousness. The last, not so honest, not folks, but many people have it. They believe what they think, they believe what they feel, and that's we go through later. And that's not what we have to believe. So then, cause and effect is of course a big scale, but no, so in average, it's physical or psychological, traumatic experiences, social reasons, the medical condition and illnesses. I met many people with chronic diseases, and of course, when somebody suffers from pain, physically or emotional pain, this of course can impact the mood, definitely, and of course this has effects all in change thinking, feelings, and interests, and change in behavior. Now, but I said we only briefly go to this topic. Now, don't worry, this is not a mental health class. I said this before, but interesting is because it's all energy. We also have to go this is not the part of low energy, it's negativity, and when we feel lost, when we feel depressed, that's what I did not write down here, but this is so-called like a lower energy where everybody can technically fall into. This is why we have to not consider this here. So we can see here in this little photo. So when a person is quite unhealthy and unbalanced, his brainwave patterns. So after meditation for 15 minutes, it looks much more balanced. So we have here a very focused part, and actually after 25 minutes, you see that here that all the parts actually are looking the left and right hemisphere very balanced. So this is why we also recommend, of course, during this course and after this course to have a daily meditation from at least 15 minutes. Even though it would be better actually to have 25, and often in the Kundalini Yoga we used to have 30 minutes. And now we know actually why. Now it has better effects for IQ, memory, brain power, and focus, and also for sleep. So this is a bit, as I said, now we're on the edge of the mental health class. Don't get irritated by the picture. For me, I just picked it up because it a little bit talks about inflammation. We will talk in the future more about reasons why some people cannot, even they want to change, maybe the mental emotional attitude, it could be affected by inflammations in the brain, which are causing anxiety or other stress in the mind, and also, of course, the physical body. So this looks quite here like medical, and this is why we only have a very, very short look on this. And we discuss this a little bit later, now where inflammation came from and how they can affect. But we have to mention this because this is many people have, and they don't actually not realize. And I think it's normal that I'm always in a bad mood. It's normal that I can't sleep. It's normal I'm overweight and I can't lose weight, or whatever reasons they have. It's quite diverse, and this often is caused from inflammation and also especially from silent inflammations, and they can cause depression. So, but this was the briefly thing for the. So I put here. Sorry, now I was throwing her around, but I don't have the space here. In the next weeks, we talk about more inflammations. this is definitely then something where we go deeper, but not today. Today is just an overlook. And at first we need to understand how the mind, subconscious mind, and our body are working together. So now we're jumping now from the brain, you can say, also to the mind. By what we are dividing, by that we are dividing the mind in two parts. We have this logic mind and we have the educational mind and the subconscious mind. It represents the emotional mind. So when you go to school, you're training more the logic mind, and that it's education that you get, and the subconscious mind is not only, but it's also the emotional mind where you are your feelings and also your habits and your belief is also. I didn't put this in. It doesn't get so big, but the belief is also in the subconscious mind. The body, of course, is the final part who goes in action later. So whatever you think and feel, the body normally will do it. It will react. So then I want to introduce you to the stick person. And maybe you know this guy. This is what Bob Proctor always talks, and many other also coaches. So this is a bit what I said before. We have this is more or less you. This represents your head. That's your body. And then we divide it now in with this little. I'm always clicking too much. Then we're dividing the mind between conscious mind and subconscious mind. Of course, it's all mind, but it's better to understanding if we give them a little bit, if we separate them so we can analyze and understand it a little better. And the body is plays a little because that matters what happens here and here, because it will be executed from our body. And this is how more or less in a model way we all function. And a little bit further, not so nice picture. We don't go too much in, but we have briefly explained that we have, in addition, these 5 inferior faculties, but everybody has. You see here, smell, taste, and touch, which are related to the conscious mind, but of course the conscious mind also will impact the feelings, emotions, and this is changing the vibration, the energy technically in your body. At first, what you're thinking, energy, then what you feel, and the vibration in your body. And this, of course, goes to the action and will give you the results. These are higher faculties. We don't go through this today, but this is what we recommend for everybody to train those. The reason, intuition, perception, will, memory, and imagination, where we come to in the later events more to this. We focus in a moment about this part, conscious mind, subconscious mind, and body, and how these senses are affecting the energy in our daily life. For example, if somebody is watching something and hearing something, he's technically see and hearing at the same time in television, some bad thing happens, he got, of course, maybe affected. And first mentally, but maybe then if he thinks too much over this, then also emotionally, also in the subconscious mind, and then probably he reacts or starts to react through the information which came through the senses. And so this is why we have to be very conscious what comes through the senses, what we're eating, also taste, smell, the hearing, so what we know, which kind of information we expose to. Sometimes we cannot choose it, not when we're in some working places, but at home we definitely should have the ability to choose what we would like to have. But later we come a bit closer, then we jump a bit forward. So energy moves in frequencies. Actually, everything communicates in this way. This, what Bob Proctor said, no, you are already connected to everything you desire. What you have to do is get in harmony with it. If you want to attract it, you must be on the same frequency. So I'm just checking my time. Okay. But also Nikola Tesla said this: if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And also Einstein said everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. So we don't talk about here some, this is authentic stuff. That's very important. That this is really physics. This is how things are working. So in a model way. So every emotion has its own vibration frequency. We jump a little bit back what we had before, but this is actually it's similar to what we had in the beginning with the emotions and the colors. But this shows exactly in it's a so-called, I forgot now the special name for this, but you can see the vibration. It's normally a hertz. You can say shame, guilt, apathy, grief, and fear is in a very low area. So this is actually when a person is emotionally suffering. Maybe many people, they're not actually aware that they're suffering. They think that's a normal thing to be afraid, or be ashamed or whatever. And then this one, and you see, this is a very low energy when people are in this kind of emotional state. They are very contracted. Now it feels everything is close and pushing and frictioning. And as much a person is working and change emotions, but before we discussed through food, meditation, color therapy. There are many things you can do. And also the consciousness rises up out of the contraction. We expand the consciousness by training, elevating the consciousness. We realize, wow, after the pride, courage, then there's this acceptance. Something that fell out, I think it comes in the other list. It's gratitude is very powerful. Love, joy, peace, enlightenment. This is ultimate consciousness, and this state is always there. This is, you need to understand, this is always there. But if we are not in line, in the same frequency, emotionally, mentally, and also then in the end physically, we don't actually realize that we are part of this big ultimate consciousness. Anyway, so this put this again aside. Is merely the same thing. It shows a little bit more detailed how people often then maybe feel and behave. This is also here, but here's maybe a bit nicer, because you can see that. And I thought a lot of myself, and I desired something, but also with the anger, when I wasn't satisfied or too bright, I was quite hyperactive. But the results didn't make me happy. And how I did things actually was costing me a lot of energy. I felt very exhausted. Sorry. No, and inaction is, of course, this is a bit bad. I have to say, I'm reading this out. It's fear, grief, anger, normally. Sorry again. Anxiety, fear, grief, anxiety, guilt, and shame. Apathy. Sorry, it must be the same like this. No, my fault. So, and then this is more or less the neutrality. So in the neutral, when we are in this emotional and mental state, this is where the energy is not bad. No. But if we accept and if we create a reason why we have this life, when we think about the reason related with the goal, which helps us not to rise up our desire, then and also the love and joy, then we are rising up the energy and becoming in high energies. And if we do this more often, we are great, first great, and then we maintain it by training. It's like a physical training, muscle training. So thoughts and feelings are very powerful. It's nearly the same thing, more or less. This is why we make this quite short, bit maybe more confusing. But this is what I said before. Energy is always available. That means our mentally and emotionally energy and also physical energy could be always in a high form if we are in balance now with all the positive emotions. And this we can train by rising up the conscious level. And the consciousness level actually can also be increased by learning to change the emotional frequency, the emotional energy. So vice versa, so they help each other. So that's very interesting. Here's again mainly what I said before, this why very shortly. I picked up this because this is more or less the same what we said before, that you see actually scale, log of again, and then you can actually see the here the emotion, that peace, now the level of peace in a high in a high consciousness and high energy level gives you the emotion of bliss, and you have the life view. It seems to be very perfect. So in the downside, if somebody is in the force, in low energy, so he is very angry all the time. His emotion is hate. That's very low energy. And his life of view is agnostic. No, fear is, of course, frightening. Grief is tragic. Apathy is hopeless. Shame is miserable, and blah, blah, blah. No, so this you can train. You can train to change through food, through changing your thoughts and your emotions, to get in a higher frequency and to get out of this negative thing. Theoretically, it's in practice sometimes takes a bit time. So I don't know why they came now the same. Normally there should be have a no. Anyway, I think I forgot to make. Even I went through, I didn't say there's a mistake. No, anyway, to create and maintain high energy, you need what? Normally it should come one after another, but what? So the purpose of a goal is to grow. So to create and maintain a high energy, we recommend to create a goal. We will in 2 minutes jump to this thing. Bob said a very clear and short description: 6 steps to goal. Make a list. What you want, then choose the one you really want, and write down the why. Create a goal card. Turn your goals into quarterly objective and work on your goals daily. And also said, now, don't be a victim of negative self-talk. We all have this. I'm not a different example. We all have sometimes different negative self-talk, but it gets less if you are creating goal and you're working every day towards it. So I have to fix this, but not now. Then we have, do you have a goal or big dreams? This is often the questions that I ask more or less every client when I feel this person is a little bit lost or sick, chronically sick, or be a bit depressed, or sometimes I just ask this as a general question. Not maybe first time, but when a person came second or third time. So then you can remember the stick person we went a little before. This was the educational mind, and then we had the emotional mind. And often people are, what I said, they are getting impacted by these 5 inferior senses. Then they create thoughts, and of the result of this, and then actually get emotionally impacted, and then the emotion causes the vibration, the energy where a person is, good or bad, and then the vibration causes them to act. Then they will get results, and then they will look at the results, and then they will always think, oh no, again, it happened. No? Of course, if you act always the same, the results won't be different. They are the same as well. So how to change the results in life? The result, you can also imagine, is the outcome of your energy. And the results is when you are committed, make a committed decision to create a goal or dream in life where you really want to grow. This is also a self-development strategy. You create something what you really would love to do, would love to be, and you go mentally and emotionally into this goal, towards the goal or the dream. So this is quite similar. We said the thought energy is, and then your thoughts become an idea. This is normally where you get an idea about this one. And then, of course, again, the idea causes the emotions. The state more or less the same. The emotion is altering the vibration, what we already said, and the vibration is expressed through action. So now, and of course, results are, there's also impact, of course, circumstances, the environment and condition. Now, if a fish has the dream to climb a tree, might be a bit difficult, not impossible, but might be quite difficult. So, now in a funny way, your action causes a reaction which alters your results. So it means you have to think different to get different results. That's, in theory, quite simple. And the higher as thought is, more positive, not big dreams, you can catapult, you can say, you can really give yourself a kick in a high energy. And that feels very nice. So are you ready to jump into the high energy? You know, that's an important question, because nearly every day I meet a person who sometimes says, oh, I'm not really happy with my health. I'm not happy with my relationship. I'm not happy with my money, our income, or not job, whatever. And then they're not ready to jump. So that means they're not ready to change. They want that something changes, but they're not really to change. They thinking, or maybe they think about it, but they don't do the action. And then often nothing really happens. Or then, but we know before, they became more victim. We jump quickly back to these 5 and 3 senses. Then they listen, they see things, and then their thoughts from the external circumstances create their actions. And we want to train that you create your own action by altering your mind and your emotions. So handwriting causes thinking. The repetition of writing your goal every day will increase your awareness. True purpose of a goal is to help you grow. But that's also a bit hardly possible to read from Bob Proctor. And my wife is doing very well in handwriting every day. And then quantum leap. So then can happen then if you really follow, you make a jump quantumly in your success. Success means also you are in line, in harmony with the way you want to grow. You are walking the way what you have decided to go, or not the external circumstances, which is not always easy, I know, but that's how we are working. And if you have, I'm quite fast. I thought I need 50 minutes. I'm now with 47 minutes. I was a bit maybe rushing in some parts. But if you have more questions about holistic health, mindset coaching, etc., So don't hesitate and contact us. So that's me. I'm GK Jochen Grönig for English, German, and Finnish support. Well, I'm quite good, not perfect, but that's quite okay. But of course, the German English is probably better. You can find more information under the website rendelemapis.com and or email also, or here my telephone number. And also, if you want a better language support in Finnish and English, then you can contact my wonderful wife, Mia Grönig. Her website name is yumicoaching.com and email yumicoaching@gmail.com and telephone number. And oh, there is something in the chat. Thank you very much. Very good presentation. I don't have any. That's very nice. And yes, see you soon, probably next week with the event of silent informations. And thank you for listening to me. And yes, I hope it's ready. If not, then maybe we postpone this a week later. But I'm working with my other coach, German coach, and for our presentation for silent inflammations. And yes, I hope you enjoyed the little presentation. And if you have some questions afterwards, you can always contact us through the Facebook website, of course, Rende Elema, or no, more detailed in Finnish language through my wife. And yes, yeah, take your time, breathe through. You can maybe make a list of dreams and goals, and or think, oh, how many emotions, what kind of quality of I have during the day or in general, and let us a little bit, soak in, rest, integrate if you want what we talked about. Maybe you feel related to it, maybe not. And if yes, take your time and think through if you want to have a change in your life, and if you're really ready to jump, if you're really ready to change, not you're waiting for somebody's fishing you out of the water, you have to do, of course, also a lot for yourself. Otherwise, your life won't change. But I forgot your comma. Anyway, in this way, I wish you a very wonderful weekend and a nice evening, and see you next week, or when the next presentation is coming. I will let you know through the Facebook ads. Yes, thank you very much, and see you. I just have to go here out, and have a wonderful evening. Bye.